Hi everyone, I hope you've had a good week. I hope you've got some nice plans for the weekend. I just wanted to jump on and do a quick video to talk about life here at Ignata in a little bit more detail. We are looking to grow, we're looking to expand our team, so I thought for anyone that's potentially interested in having a conversation about coming to join us, it would be good to give you a bit of a flavour of what you could expect really. So I'm here with George, who's one of our consultants, just to kind of give you a bit more information. So George, do you want to tell us what your background is in recruitment and what you do now here at Ignata?
Yeah, definitely. So I joined a tech recruiter as a graduate about 3 years ago now, essentially recruiting internationally for very technical positions, which obviously gave me a good background in a sense of really understanding the drivers of people that are really motivated technically and oftentimes done really extensive qualifications and degrees and that type of thing. So from a search perspective, felt that I had quite a natural transition over to obviously working now with finance and the type of people that we talk to all the time. From my perspective, joining Ignata was really just about trying to find leaders and mentors to align with, where, quite often from the perspective of joining as a graduate or relatively junior consultant, your manager isn't necessarily super experienced with managing large teams or developing careers in the way that obviously our founders here that have been doing this for 20 plus years are all really comfortable in taking you on that career journey. And the exposure to sit next to a director who's done that for 20 years was really interesting for me.
And in terms of your markets and what you do now, what do you specialise and focus on?
Yeah, so I joined Ignata very much from a resourcing perspective, so finding candidates for existing roles that other people had essentially brought on from their client relationships. But over the past 6 months or so, I've essentially moved into a role where I'm developing that business for myself, and I actually look at sort of newly qualified people, quite often leaving practice or industry qualifications, looking to take their steps into slightly more senior roles. So usually at around the sorts of 50k to say 80k level, that would be essentially the types of roles that I look at. And that's from everything from core accounts and the more technical roles all the way over to super commercial strategic positions as well.
Yeah, great. And I think it's mainly kind of retail and consumer, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Okay. Yeah, definitely. I think over the last 12 months or so, we've really felt a push into e-commerce and some of those types of online subscription, all that type of thing. And obviously, being part of a small team here, you end up doing lots of everything and all working quite collaboratively as well.
Yeah, that's great. I think, in terms of what you like about Ignata, from my perspective, I've worked in that kind of typical, I think what people would assume in recruitment environment is like in terms of KPIs, this many calls, you've got to hit this many targets, you've got to do X, Y, Z. What do you feel is different about Ignata that, is maybe, it is definitely better than what people might think it's like?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a real sort of small business feel in a really positive way, in that essentially at any point you can pick up the phone to anybody in our business, be it the founders or the newest person, and have really grown up sensible conversations. And I think in the 2 years that I've been here now, there's been very minimal, if any, conversation around things like your typical KPIs and things like that, because essentially it's a grown-up environment where, we've hired really well, fantastic people that are self-motivated. And then obviously, as sort of alluded to earlier, our founders have really taken an unbelievable amount of consultants over their career on their journey. So I've sort of got a bit of the nuanced experience to really guide you without necessarily having to say, make X amount of calls a week, whatever it might be. It's slightly more hands-on and shadow me for a few days while I do these calls or these meetings, rather than, what have you done this week type thing. And I think that really creates an amazing environment for somebody wanting to, I think we're obviously hiring at all levels, but it's brilliant for perhaps people that are looking or maybe in a role where they're finding that they're maybe not having that exposure to leadership and really would benefit from that extra sort of hands-on time.
Yeah, I'd really echo that. I think that was the same when I joined in a very kind of similar role to George in terms of the resourcing and having that exposure to the directors on a daily basis, really. Yeah. Sat with them all day, every day. That was the biggest appeal for me, learning from there rather than just maybe quite a vague training schedule, training plan that maybe a bigger corporate recruitment business would offer. So yeah, I think that's definitely one of the big sells. So if that sounds good to you, if that sounds like something that's kind of resonating with you and you'd like to hear more, we'd love to hear from you. We're looking to hire. So yeah, please do get in touch, drop me a message on LinkedIn and we can book in a call. Thanks so much.